Welcome to the BCJ Minicast, episode 3? Yeah, episode 3. I am your host, Jay. Joining me today is Corey.
Hi.
And Brad, like always.
Yep, walking shitpost. But Jordan, I think it's the 4th episode.
No.
Minicasts?
Yeah.
No, this is, I believe this is, this will be number 3.
Yeah, this is the third.
I was going to say, we've done so many of these in rapid fire succession. Yeah, it's been kind of insane with how many we've done so quickly.
Yeah.
We've done them all on different days, but we've done them very quickly, so it does get a bit confusing.
Yeah.
Especially when a long form cast gets turned into a mini cast accidentally.
And then I think what was supposed to be a mini cast ended up turning into a long cast.
Well, no, I mean, I don't think that was going to be a mini cast. I thought we were going to cut it close, but we didn't. We really didn't.
That's fair. How long did we go? Like 3 hours?
3.5. 3.5. I believe it was 3:31.
Yeah.
So
something like that.
I as I say, I remember because I had to get video for that, which I've already done, by the way. It's already scheduled for upload. That episode will be releasing on Christmas, by the way, and so I didn't say it in the video, but Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. This episode will be coming out the week before Christmas, so timeline's a bit weird. Don't worry about it. We've got this under control. I promise. Well, it's just amazing, you know. Whenever you're young, you always look forward to Christmas. But I think at about 12 years old, I started not liking Christmas or holidays in general, and so now I don't even really know what days are holidays and what days aren't, because I don't care that much.
Well, the only reason I know it's nearing Christmas time is because my work.
Yeah, same for me.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not a big holiday person either. Like the only thing I look forward to on Christmas is like the food.
I think none of us really are really big holiday people.
No, I'm really not. I never been a big holiday person, and that was the thing. It's just like this year for Thanksgiving. This would have been my first Thanksgiving since 2012 that I would have had not working. The first one.
But yeah, we always used to travel for it, and it's like this is the first year that we haven't. And I mean, granted, I haven't been able to for the last 3 years because of work. So.
But yeah, anyway, so this was the first one that I was going to have that I wasn't working, and so I was actually kind of excited because that meant that I would actually be able to spend time with, you know, my parents for Thanksgiving for the first time in 8 years, and because we had some cases of the Rona at our store very shortly before Thanksgiving, we all made the decision that I would not be attending Thanksgiving with my family because that would put them at risk. Because my mother is immunocompromised, if she would get the Rona, it could be, there's a very high possibility of very bad outcomes for her, and so it was kind of sad, kind of disappointing, because this would have been the first Thanksgiving that my wife would have been able to spend with my family ever. So, and this will probably be the only one in a long time too, because I don't expect Walmart to be shutting down on Thanksgiving anymore from now on. Considering the freak accident that resulted in it not being open for Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah.
Well, that was a bit of a rant, but that kind of leads us into today's topics, which is we're going to be ranting about different things that we have strong opinions on, or stuff that just makes us angry or upset, or we just don't like or hate, or, you know, whatever it is that comes to mind that we want to just sit here and ramble on about, which is kind of what we do to begin with, but with much less structure than some of our other episodes, if you can call those structured. So yeah. So I think, Corey, do you want to get us started off? Because you have some strong feelings about a particular game that's come out recently.
Okay. All right. Okay. First off, I just want to get this out of the way. Valhalla, probably the worst Assassin's Creed game that Ubisoft has released since probably Unity, right? Because I think
Yeah.
because
And let's be fair. Let's be fair. Unity had at least had like an interesting story, but the game was so fundamentally broken. It was unplayable.
yeah,
Just straight up unplayable. It was like every other Assassin's Creed, but it was unplayable.
like what? After Unity, we got Syndicate, right? Syndicate was actually pretty fun.
Syndicate is actually one of my favorites.
Yeah, I would probably also say that as well. Origins was the breath of fresh air that Assassin's Creed needed. Odyssey was it had its moments, right, like I was still able to play through it even though the story wasn't the greatest, right. It's still I think it was like one of the first games besides God of War to actually really dive deep into ancient Greece, like not the like not the Mycenaean Greece, the one with the Iliad and the actual Odyssey,
Mm-hmm.
right? This was ancient Greece with Alcibiades, fucking
Aristotle.
Aristotle,
Yes, that was Odyssey.
Hercules,
Heracles.
yeah, Heracles, um, and then you had your grandfather was technically Leonidas and stuff. It was a very very fun, interesting experience. And then we get Valhalla, right? You know, I don't. First of all, I don't really like the combat. Exploration is fine. It's basically exploration. But the thing is, I'm not talking about the game itself, right? So I got to the gold steelbook edition, right? Because I like steelbooks, and I
They
didn't.
are very nice. They
Yeah,
are very nice.
and I didn't mind, because with the the gold steelbook edition, you got the season pass, and I'm just like, okay, all right, I get to have the PS5 upgrade for free. So I got a PS5. Like I didn't expect to get a PS5 so soon. Like I thought, maybe I was gonna have to wait until next year to get it, but no, I actually got it pretty damn early. Not even a month after its release. Like I was able to get it in store. So I was kind of happy about that. And the day that Cyberpunk was released, and while it was updating, I was like, all right, I have some time, right? Because Cyberpunk was on my PC because I'm not a fucking idiot. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna spin. All right, so while this is updating, I'm going to move Valhalla, download Valhalla onto my PlayStation. So I'm just sitting there, right? And I'm like looking, I'm like, I had to scroll through it because unlike Cold War, my system didn't pick up on it. So I was like, okay, whatever. I looked it up, and it was basically on the screen, on the stage or PS Store screen of Valhalla. They're supposed to be like a upgrade to PS5 selection right above like the trophy screen. And I'm like, okay, why isn't this showing up? And I'm like, maybe it's because I haven't, it's because I didn't put in the code for this season pass. And I'm just like, that might be it. I'm not so sure. I'm pretty sure it's not. So I go in and I input the code again, and code's not valid. So I go and check on my add-ons to see what's going on, because it's telling me that I still have to pay for the season pass, even though the steelbook came with the code for the season pass. So I go and check my add-ons, and it says season pass missions. How do I have the season pass missions, but not the season pass? So I'm just like kind of confused, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Like what's going on? And now I'm just trying to think of it, because I also have the mission of the Berserker, which is a gold edition, just a gold edition mission, right? You can only
Mhm.
get it on the gold edition, and it's and you're supposed to get the season pass with that, but I only had the season pass missions in the Path of Berserker. So I'm just like, did they fuck up on the code? Did they not put the season pass on this code? And it's just like, how can a company be like so incompetent to not include not include the season pass when it says on the little fucking card stock that says season pass code? And I'm just fucking confused as all hell. And after like 15 minutes of just trying to fucking find a reasoning, I'm just like, you know what? I got Breakpoint on release day, and I've never really even thought of returning it. Like I played it like maybe 2 hours on release day and never picked it up again.
Yeah.
Valhalla is definitely the first game in years that I'm going to return back, because it's not because I didn't like the game, right? If I was able to just upgrade to the PS5 and I still didn't like the game, probably wouldn't have thought of like returning it, like with Fallout 76, right? Didn't really like the game, never really returned it. But this is just a precedence that it's just about just the principle of the matter, that I bought something expecting to have everything that comes with it and missing one of the most single important things about it, not including the game. Because I was going to get a PS5. I don't know when and I don't know how. I got the gold edition for the reason to just upgrade to the PS5 later, and I didn't get it. So I'm going to go to Amazon, or go on my Amazon account and return it, and hopefully get my money back. And if I don't, I'm not gonna go full Karen, but I am going to be very displeased.
Yeah.
And it's just it's just crazy how like it just boggles my mind, because I've never had a code fail on me like this, right? That comes with the game. I never had a code fail on me like this ever. And like even my friend who bought, I believe, the Ultimate Edition on the PS Store also still technically doesn't have the season pass, even though that's supposed to come with the season pass and even more. And he's also quite confused about it. But granted, he actually likes playing the game, so good for him. I like him. I enjoy his opinion a bit, but it's just I it's just the principle of the matter that since I got my PS5 and I technically don't have the season pass for whatever reason, and I'm not going to spend another fucking $40 to get the fucking season pass again. I'm not happy with the game, so I'm just going to return it. And maybe like 3 years down the line, when I can pick up like the gold edition for like maybe $30, I might think about getting it again, and hopefully everything that I complained about earlier might get patched. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's what it's just just came to, which is just I expected something, got in game, got something different, and it and the bundle didn't even come complete with the season pass and everything. I have just given up. I have tuned out, and I'm just gonna return it now.
As I say, how like you weren't even that impressed with the gameplay as it was anyway,
Yeah, I was not.
because it wasn't simplistic, but it was abusable, which is that's not good um, for a game that big. I mean, if it was a tiny little indie game, I mean, I might be willing to give that a pass. But when you have something that's you can be like level 20 and take on a level 120 area so easily just by using a weapon and just stun lock people for like 30 minutes straight. That's a bit of a problem.
Yeah, no, it's I I wasn't impressed. The game didn't intrigue me as much as Odyssey did, because like there was a time where, even though, like, looking back on it, I was only playing Odyssey to fill time, I still never really truly got bored with it. Like, I didn't, it, don't get me wrong, 170 hours is a lot of time, but most of that time I actually did spend enjoying the game. And for the next predecessor to barely even spend 2 hours in it, it just kind of sours the taste.
Yeah. I was going to say now, what's really interesting is concurrently, another game has come out by Ubisoft, Immortals Phoenix Rising, which I have got to play. I know Corey purchased it today and will be playing it later tonight. But I've been playing Immortal Phoenix Rising, and let me say, holy shit, that game is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm
It's
really.
also really funny. It's a hilarious game. For anybody that doesn't know, it is about Typhon, one of the Titans, has escaped from his chains that he was put in by the gods, and has returned to destroy the gods, and has basically already done so. He's changed a bunch of the gods into other objects or creatures, and has corrupted all of the champions of ancient Greece, like Heracles and Perseus, Atalanta, etc. And Zeus and Prometheus are the narrators for the game, where Prometheus is basically telling the story of Phoenix, and Zeus is there basically trying to like fuck up the narrative and just like complain about everything.
Being Zeus.
It's great. It's yeah, he's being Zeus. Uh, it's it's really funny. But the game is actually a lot of fun. The combat is nice. There's no input lag, which is great. There's no problems with being glitchy or anything. I think the best way that I found to describe it is like what would happen if you would cross an Assassin's Creed with Breath of the Wild and Spyro. If you put all three of those games together, that's essentially what it is. Very similar comedy, very similar kind of art style and art direction. Um, but it also feels really good. There's a little bit of minor stealth that you can do. The combat is great. It feels great. There's lots of upgrades that you can get for weapons, for abilities, for all these different things. And it's got a little bit of platforming to it, which is where the Breath of the Wild stuff comes in. It's very open world, lots of stuff that you can do and find and take care of. But you can kind of tell that that was Ubisoft's passion project, and Valhalla was not. Because let's be
Valhalla.
real, Valhalla is a mess
Valhalla.
and is a waste of people's time.
Valhalla seems like the unity of this like RPG Assassin's Creeds. That I think that's the problem. It definitely feels like, it's that, they already have exhausted their resources between Origins and Odyssey, and it just seems like there wasn't as much love put into it, and at least like in Origins. I know Odyssey probably didn't get as much love into it as Origins did, but this seems like, kind of hastily put together, like just like Cold War.
Yeah, Cold War also kind of has that feeling for the multiplayer, at least.
Yeah, but at least I can actually get some gameplay out of Cold War, if not in multiplayer, definitely in zombies.
Oh yeah, definitely in zombies. As I say, hopefully the first new zombie map should be coming out. I think in about a month.
Oh,
I
nice.
think is what I heard is first part of 2021.
Because
So that'll be nice to
yeah,
see.
because I think season one of the battle pass, or the fucking
Season 1 starts on the 17th, I believe.
uh,
Because it was the week after Cyberpunk release. They pushed it back a week so they didn't have to compete with Cyberpunk.
that's fair. Like
Makes sense.
yeah, I'll probably start playing Cyberpunk more once I get my desk set up and I'm able
Yeah.
to actually play on a monitor that can go above 60 hertz at 1080p.
What does it say? Cyberpunk's also been having some issues at release, which isn't really a surprise considering it's CD Projekt Red. And while CD Projekt Red makes some good games, the one thing that has plagued every game that they've ever made has been it's buggy as hell. I mean,
Yeah,
even now with The Witcher 3, which is a phenomenal game, it still has lots of bugs and issues with different things.
yeah,
So, uh, I actually considered picking it up, but I was gonna pick it up for console because why not? And then I read some stuff about it online day of release, and I was just like, okay, never mind. I'm not gonna do that. That sounds like a really stupid choice.
yeah,
Because apparently it's having a hard time on base consoles just getting past the teens in frame rate in many places.
yeah.
Um, which I mean, holy shit, that's bad.
Yeah, no. I was also gonna get it on PlayStation 4. Like, granted, I wouldn't have that much problem because I got the PlayStation 5 before Cyberpunk released. So I would have been able to play it on the PlayStation 5 anyway.
As I say,
Um,
the PlayStation 5, it looks like it's doing mostly okay, but there's still, even on the PS5, it's there are times where it's dropping down below 30 FPS.
yeah, but I thought about it, and I definitely played a lot more hours on The Witcher 3 on my PC than console, and I knew that this was going to be a heavily taxing game, so I chose to just get it on my most powerful piece of equipment, which is my PC.
Hmm.
And I haven't had that many problems. Yes, it does seem like frames do drop, but not as much. Like, I think my frames are probably around like 30 to 45. Granted, that also, considering my 1080p 60 hertz monitor, it's fine. I'm able to play on high settings without any problems.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least it works on the PC mostly. Still
Most.
buggy, but
Oh yeah, it's still
at
buggy.
least it's playable on that.
Hmm. Do you have anything to say about that, Brad?
I mean, I'm not having any problems with it on my PC. Although I've been looking on Twitter, and there are, if you go on Twitter, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are um, like trying to put together like lawsuits because they say it was blatant misinformation what uh, like the company like put out, and that it's essentially like unplayable for a lot of people, and that is uh, I don't know how to describe it. It's basically like that's not what the company promised. Therefore, they should get their money back, or that the company themselves are going to get sued in like some sort of antitrust lawsuit. And it's like I have no problems. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah. Because there's been I've been seeing this meme constantly. It's like during the opening of Cyberpunk, like when the main character looks out the window and you're supposed to see the city, and it's just very low textures of buildings, and then just a blue screen, and it's just like. And I'm just like, well, I mean, if he's playing on, the base console that came out in what 2014 with that heavy of a taxing game, I
Hmm.
I can definitely understand that, right? It like even on high end PCs where they're also basically struggling to get 60 frames per second. It just give it like a couple weeks, let them put out some optimization patches. Like earlier today, I saw that Cyberpunk already updated, like there was like a 1.4 gig update, and I think that's probably an optimization patch. You know, you just give it a couple days, you'll be fine. You know, this is what we get for rushing CD Projekt Red to release.
Now,
I
keep
was
in mind, right? Keep in mind, the original release date was earlier this year, about what was it, 8 months ago?
yeah.
I believe was the original release date, and it got pushed back to November, and then November hit, and it got pushed back to December.
I mean, I wasn't really rushing because I believed in CD Projekt Red. I knew that their track record from Witcher 2 to Witcher 3. I have trust in CD Projekt Red. So if I had to wait, I'm waiting. Like I'm still waiting for Digimon Survive, and it's supposed to come out in 2019. Now the release date's pushed back to 2021, and there's still technically no release date. It's just supposed to release in that year, and I'm still just patiently waiting.
Yep. I mean, yeah, I knew that things were not going to be perfect with Cyberpunk whenever it came out, but from what I've seen and I've read about the console versions of these games, it's a lot worse than I thought it would be. Because going back to what you said, Brad, about the lawsuits, I could actually see some of that working because generally, whenever people buy something, they expect it to be functional, and it is straight up unplayable for a lot of people on console.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I can see them getting sued. Um,
I think a suit might happen. It just kind of depends on how CD Projekt Red tries to go about things after the lawsuit happens. That might change how things work out for them. It might not work, and it might work. It depends on how much they decide to optimize for consoles.
yeah, I mean, I
If
I have
the,
no
the
skin in the
people
game.
the people that are playing on PC and are complaining about it can fuck right off because it's at least you can play it.
Yeah,
Like there might be some bugs and crashes, but at least it's playable. People that are playing on first generation consoles for the PS4 and the Xbox One, straight up are just not able to even experience the game in some places. It's
yeah.
that bad.
I mean, like I said, I have no skin in the game. I'm quite enjoying the game. I can understand why people would be calling for a lawsuit, though.
Yeah.
That
How is
being
the game
said,
since you've
I
been playing it a bunch?
I like it. It's I'm still getting the hang of it.
Yeah.
It's very different from a lot of the other games I've played.
Okay.
The best thing that I could probably compare it to is like what I've been saying. It's basically kind of like Fallout, but in a cyberpunk setting.
Hmm.
Not a, not. I disagree. Um, it's not very Fallout like. Um, it's it's not a looter shooter.
That's Fallout 4 though.
It's not really. I don't know. I haven't played that much of it yet. I probably only played about 10 hours, so I'm not that far in the story. I do enjoy it though. Like it's got a very nice open world. I enjoy the first person sort of perspective that they have you in. Um, all of the characters that I've met have been fairly cool, and it's cool like literally just walking around Night City.
I remember there was a meme where you're talking to Keanu Reeves' character, and he just says an enormous dick, and somebody just made a meme of just Keanu Reeves just saying an enormous dick.
I mean, I think you can give yourself an enormous dick, right?
Yeah, you can. I thought there was going to be a lot more customizations in that area. I was talking to a coworker about it, and I was kind of and she was like complaining about how like you can do that, right? And I'm just like, Well, you know what you should probably complaining. What I wanted was an exploded roast beef on my girl character, but obviously I didn't. I couldn't hit that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the game so far. It's very cool. I did enjoy the customization options. Um, but the one thing about the customization, which I thought was funny, and this is something I read on Twitter. I haven't like experienced it firsthand, and for all I know, it could have been a meme. But apparently, some of the like romanceable characters will like make fun of you if you have a circumcised penis.
Wow.
I don't know how true that is at all, but that is what I saw on Twitter, which made me laugh. That they'll like literally not only will they make fun of you, but they'll like reject you.
Nice.
Wow. Okay.
I have no idea how true that is. I spent about 5 minutes trying to look into it through a mountain of Cyberpunk 2020 uh, Cyberpunk 2020 like tweets,
Yeah.
but most of them were just like, "This is a bullshit game," blah, and it's like, well, I'm not going to find anything about. I'm not going to find any
You're
circumcised.
not going to find anything about circumcised or uncircumcised penises in those kind of comments.
Uh,
Unfortunately, no.
I was talking about talking to my friend about circumcised penises because he's like he wears a beanie, he wears a like a skin tone beanie, but it like poofs up above his head, you know, like how it's flat. So
Oh no.
I call him uncircumcised,
Well,
and
the
then
the one of the bugs that people on Twitter are like absolutely hoping they don't CD Project Red doesn't get rid of is apparently there's a bug where I don't know if it's PC, console, whatever, but I've seen screenshots of it and it's absolutely hilarious that there's a bug that your penis will literally like hang outside your clothes, like in third person.
dicks out
Yeah,
dicks out for Harambe.
Yeah, so you're
the
just
true Lord and
running
Savior.
around. You're just running around, flopping it in everyone's faces.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah, no, and he told me apparently that it might be a myth, but girls say that it feels or guys say it feels better when you have sex when you're not circumcised when you have the foreskin. It was like I don't know. I didn't have
I
that.
wouldn't be able to attest to that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
I didn't have that choice.
Yeah, neither did I.
My
None
mom
of
was
us did.
yeah my
Male genital mutilation, am I right?
yeah my mom was like nope this and like me and him were like doing the pros and cons just like it like okay let's say if that's true but you also got to look at the cons right. I don't have to deal with the cheese. All right, that's cool. That is
Yeah,
good. I'm fine with not dealing with the dick cheese.
yeah. That is one pro.
Yeah,
Probably the only one.
probably. I remember there was
Oh
this.
man.
I remember there was this visual novel. It was a meme visual novel, and apparently there's a European that comes into the class like as a transfer student, and all the Japanese students make fun of him of his circumcised penis.
Well,
Wow.
apparently, this is secondhand information, but someone from my gym went over to England, where circumcised guys are very rare, very
Mhm.
few and far between, and that apparently like that's it. It's one of those things like if a British girl sees it, it's like they'll literally just like try you out.
Oh really?
According to him, he said he's never gotten laid more in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Wow.
That's interesting. I know
Nice.
I won't be able to make any use of that information, but
Me neither.
I'm the only one married here, or in a relationship for that matter.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't think we're gonna be. I don't think we're gonna be going to England anytime soon. Any of the three of
Ah,
us.
I mean that's fair.
Mark that up
That's
on the
fair.
bucket list, though.
To England? No, not me. I wouldn't want to go over there.
Yeah,
I really don't want to touch Europe all that much at the moment with how Europe is.
yeah.
Which is funny because there's a lot of people that say the same thing about the U.S., but don't care.
I mean, honestly, like the only thing that like besides joke aside, the only thing that I really want to go to Europe for is probably like all the World War I and World War II locations, right?
I mean, that's the only reason I'd ever go.
Yeah. But other than that, I think like the only country that I'm willing to actually go and explore is probably Japan.
Probably. Same for me. I was gonna say I've been to Mexico and I've been to Canada. Um, those are the only countries outside of the U.S. I've been to.
I never been outside the country.
Yep.
For,
Well,
for for the longest time, I never thought I was outside of Florida.
I mean that's fair. I mean I've been outside of Pennsylvania my whole life multiple times, but only ever lived in Pennsylvania. But I've been outside of it quite a bit. Um, I've only been on a plane, what, a total of 3 times. I take that back, 4 times. One, the first time I was ever on a plane, it was a little 4-seater Cessna, I believe. It was for a friend's birthday party back whenever I lived up in Erie. We flew over all of the Erie area, and it was kind of fun. Um, and then the other 3 times were all in association whenever my family went down to Texas to visit my grandparents that were wintering down there. 2 of them were on the same day, and then there was just one flight back. So, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure that's accurate. But yeah, that's the only times I've ever been on a plane. And it's
uh,
funny I mentioned that, considering that last night I actually had a dream about flying.
I've been
I don't
on
even remember where I was trying to go.
I've been on a plane multiple times, but I've only been going to two destinations. It's either I was going to Tampa International or I was flying up to Pittsburgh. Though,
Yep.
like I've been on, so it would be 2, 3, 5, and 7. I've been on a plane 7 times.
Yeah. As I say, my wife actually flew last year. Her grandmother passed away out in California, so she flew out and back. Uh, and I think she's flown out and back more than once. I'm not 100% sure on that one. So she's been on a plane more times than I have.
Brad, do you have any flying stories?
Yeah, have you
I've
ever been on a plane?
I've only ever flown twice. Um, well, 4 times total, but like 2 trips. One was down to Orlando when I was like 7. Like our family went to Disney World, but that was like I don't remember that at all.
Mm.
And then one was I think like 2013. I flew down to Miami for like a Boy Scout trip, but it was fairly uneventful. And those are the only 2 times I've ever flown.
As I say, I'd like to fly more often, but I also can't afford it, so whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that big of a deal. I
Well,
think I'm one of the few people that doesn't actually get anxiety about flying all that much.
Well, I've flown 7 times, and 6 times I've flown on the great value version of planes. I've
Spirit
flown
Airlines.
I've flown Spirit 6 times, and the only one time that I didn't fly Spirit, I flew Southwest, and that was when I was moving up here. So yeah,
Spirit Airlines is great value.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
basically, it's the
I know
store.
nothing about flying, so I really don't know.
It's the store brand of flying. It's fine for for 2.5 hours. It's okay. I
My
wouldn't.
wife is saying that she agrees in the background.
Yeah, it's okay for 2.5 hours, but after that, I'm done. Right? If I'm flying to, let's say, like California, right? I'm not picking Spirit. If I'm flying to Florida, 2.5 hours, I'm okay. I can deal with it for 2.5 hours, but I'm definitely not dealing with it for over.
But you're not happy about it.
I am not happy about it, right? Like, it's 140 for like a round trip, $70 each way.
Oh, that is really cheap, actually.
Yeah, like I said, the great value of flying, but it's cheap, and you're getting what you pay for.
What's so bad about it? Is it just like it's cramped, or
It's kind of cramped. There's really not that much leg room. And granted, most of the time, like all the times that I've flown Spirit, I never really had a problem with the people. But when you have a cheaper airline, more, just more inner city people, people that are kind of rambunctious, do tend to come in. And
okay, yeah.
no,
I
I
guess
remember.
that does make sense.
I remember. I think I saw a meme where there was a fight on a Spirit airline, and it was just like, well, I mean, I didn't think I was seeing a movie today, but I'm glad I found one.
Flight and entertainment at the same time.
Because I ain't getting involved, but goddamn, am I not gonna stop watching this?
Yeah. So, anyway, going back to the gaming rants, I've got another little gaming rant to go on.
Spill the tea.
So, as everybody knows, I am a massive fan of FromSoft and all of their games, basically. Dark Souls 1, 3, and Bloodborne, and Sekiro. Dark Souls 2, we're not going to mention, for reasons anybody here should be well acquainted with.
It's not a true Souls game.
It's not good. Plain and simple, it's not good. But last year, June 9th, I want to say, they announced their new IP, which was Elden Ring, and this game looked like great. It really looked like a lot of fun. But let's just say, for the last 1 year, 6 months, and 3 days, we've got nothing. We haven't heard any new information about anything regarding the game. And it's really beginning to piss a lot of people off, because FromSoft has become an icon in gaming, and going dark for so long is really it's not worrying, but it's annoying, because at this point, people just want literally anything. Like, I mean, anything. It got to the point earlier this year where there was a subreddit dedicated to making a fan version of Elden Ring with all of its own lore and bosses and game mechanics. It's hilarious to watch, to watch develop over the last couple months. But that is how desperate people are, that they're willing to just make shit up to entertain ourselves as we wait for real information to come out from the developers. Because it's been a year and a half, which is way too long for an update. Supposedly, an update is going to be coming, quote unquote, soon. And we don't even know what it's going to be about. I mean, it's not like people are like, oh, we need a release date. It's just like, we want any information at all. Like, anything. Give us something. It's really annoying to deal with, because at this point, there really are not any games that I'm looking forward to coming out at all. And I mean at all.
So are you going to play Cyberpunk at all?
Maybe eventually. I'm currently not planning on picking it up at the moment.
I don't blame you.
The Souls fan.
Maybe eventually I'll pick it up whenever it's on a sale or something, but it's really not um that like it's not like I know there's a lot of people that were thinking like this game is going to be the messiah of video games. I think Moist Critical put it best, which is if this game isn't literally a cure for cancer, people are going to be upset. But I really didn't have any expectations going in, and I was even disappointed then with what I've seen so far. Again, the game looks fine when it's playable, but considering the only way for me to get a discount on it at this point would to be to buy a physical copy at where I work because I get a discount. I wouldn't. I'm not gonna probably pick it up anytime soon.
I don't blame you. I mean, I was never like. I do think it was overhyped. I was never like that excited for it. I did obviously want to like
Play it.
own it and play it because I wanted to see, what all the hype was about. But I mean, I don't blame people. I think the majority of people who are upset, not about like bugs and the game itself being unplayable, but I think the majority of people who are upset about other things that the game has done, are the same people, the same people who were expecting a cure for cancer.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of hype around this game.
Um,
It, I don't want to open this can of worms again, but a lot of people's reaction to this game reminds me about my reaction to Fallout 4.
oh,
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to open this can of worms again, Brad. But it's what it reminds me of. Is I expected a lot, and I was very disappointed with what I did receive.
I'm
And I think that's what people feel with this game.
I'm still just kind of like confused about how my most like expected hyped up game isn't a AAA game or anything like that. It's legitimately still the Digimon game, and I'm just still like it's just like Elden Ring, where I'm still just kind of hoping that there's some more information to come out. Like we got a few trailers, but it's just like it's like completely different from like the Digimon fandom and the Souls fandom, where the Souls fandom has to make up their own lore, and the Digimon fandom just like we'll wait.
Yeah. like the thing with this, right, is like this is a brand new IP by FromSoft. And this is the thing about FromSoft, right? So they've every single one of their first games in a series has been an absolute knockout game.
Mm-hmm.
Dark Souls 1, Bloodborne, Sekiro, all like 10 out of 10 games.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit buggy or glitchy, or sometimes can be a little bit confusing. But at this point, nobody really cares about that with FromSoft. So a new IP by FromSoft is just everybody's like what they really want right now.
Their wet dream.
It's their wet dream. It's what everybody wants, and to be left in the dark for so long, it's just like, this sucks.
Did you start?
Oh, and you want to know why? You want to know why it's kind of ironic? When the game was announced, we were given information, like a very little bit of information, including one of the guest writers for the game,
George R.R. Martin.
George R.R. Martin. And would you look at that? It's still not done or have any new information about its status at all.
He's got a history of that.
He's got a history of that.
The meme, it continues.
And the funny thing was, is when that was announced, everybody was just like, "Oh well, I guess this game is never going to get finished." It was just like, "Oh, don't curse it. Don't give it that curse." And lo and behold, they were right.
By the way, did you get anywhere? Like, did you start getting into Digimon Cyber Sleuth?
Yes, yes. I started up. I got through the prologue to the agency.
Oh,
Um, but that was I think I did that the morning that I ended up getting Phoenix Rising.
oh, yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
And so I've just in my free time, whenever I'm playing right now, I've just been playing through Phoenix Rising because it's really good. Like it's a from an entertainment perspective, um, it's probably a solid like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, which I don't say a lot about a lot of games. Um, it's actually very entertaining, and I'm enjoying it quite a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so like whenever my wife is using the PlayStation, I'll probably be playing it a bit more whenever I don't have something else I need to do, like make podcasts or edit videos or stuff like that.
What's this
Because
one?
if anybody doesn't know, uh, they record with me and then they're done. I do all the other work,
To be
which I'm
fair,
not complaining about. I compile all the data together. I make the videos. Corey did get video for our first minicast. Um, so I can't take all of the extra work, but I do get most of the video for the background that I don't even know what you're going to be seeing right now because I haven't even planned that for yet. But I edit it all together. I get it all tripped. Clipped and trimmed, and I also manage all of the social medias.
to
So,
be fair though, you are the only one of the three of us with any experience in that realm.
well, I mean, kind of. I
Yeah.
mean, hey, Brad, you spend more time on Twitter than I do.
Well, there's a big difference between spending time on Twitter and interacting on Twitter, which I do none of. I'm a silent lurker on Twitter and most
What about
social medias.
What about Facebook? Do any of you use Facebook at all? Because you want to know the last time I used Facebook? 2018.
That's probably close to the last time I made a post, except for
Same.
one that I made.
That's
Same.
still more than me.
Instagram is the only app I'm quote unquote active on, and
Oh,
by
and great.
active I mean I posted a grand total of like 9 pictures since I got that since I got one in like 2013.
Oh man.
I'm not
Yeah,
active on social media. I'm just
I,
on it a lot.
I was just say. Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know, yes, I am essentially the director, producer, and CEO of BCJ Cast.
Me and Corey are just the entertainment.
As I say, definitely entertainment. I would qualify you both as that. Uh,
But
Or the
yeah,
Hannibal Burst to the Eric Andre.
yeah.
yeah, but yeah. Well, it's 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 not as bad as what it could be. Like if these videos were heavily edited, uh, I would probably shoot myself.
I think I think
luckily, with the tools that I have, once the audio is done and the video is done, it takes me less than half an hour to actually make something. Uh, I've gotten pretty good at actually putting it all together and making it look and present well, and that includes making thumbnails, which is not that bad.
Just
I've actually spent more time searching just for what image I want for the thumbnail than I've actually spent making the thumbnail.
well, that's good.
Yeah,
yeah.
like the one I think it was the first bonfire talk that we did. I knew exactly what I wanted for the thumbnail. I literally made it in under 3 minutes. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been pretty interesting. New experience for me. I've never tried to do this on this scale before.
But
But
yeah.
yeah, one of the other things that I think we were going to talk about today was going to be the lockdowns in the state that just restarted for the second or third time.
Yeah.
Luckily, they're not going to affect our D&D sessions, which is good.
They're less than 10 people at those.
Yes, there's a total of 5.
Yeah.
And 2 of them live in the same household. So
what happens if it's only 3? Will we still continue D&D that way?
yes, I mean I really don't give a fuck about the government telling me what I can and cannot do in my own home.
I know, right? It's so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Brad, I know you agree.
Yeah, I agree. They just announced in the state that we live in, they just announced new restrictions banning indoor dining, closing theaters, closing gyms, and a whole bunch of other things that they don't necessarily have the authority for. Our governor just got COVID, and I know a lot of people online think that he might not have it, and just used his sickness as an excuse to
consolidate more power.
Yeah, basically shut the state down again. And I mean, the funniest thing is he got COVID, and it's like, hey, dude, weren't you following your own guidelines?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's almost like the guidelines that you set down don't work.
Man, it's how did we go from slow the spread to now just trying to stop the spread? I don't understand that.
If it saves one life, it won't. Like, it doesn't matter. You could completely shut the world down, but it won't save anyone. I mean,
so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna read a list of everything that's happened with this order. All in-person indoor dining at businesses in the retail food services industry, including but not limited to bars, restaurants, breweries, wineries, distilleries, social clubs, and private catering events, is prohibited.
AKA all of the essentially the private sector of the
food industry
in our state.
Yep, is prohibited. Outdoor dining, takeout food service, and takeout alcohol sales are permitted and may continue, subject to any limitations or restrictions imposed by Pennsylvania law, or this or any other order issued by the Secretary of Health or by the Governor. Indoor gatherings and events of more than 10 people are prohibited. Churches, synagogues, temples, mosques, and other places of congregate worship are specifically excluded from the limitations set forth above during religious services. These institutions are strongly encouraged to find alternate methods for worship, as in-person gatherings pose a significant risk to participants at this time. While this is an incredibly difficult recommendation to make, particularly at this time of year, faith leaders must carefully weigh the health risks of their congregants given the immense amount of community spread of COVID-19. Now, it is interesting because in the next section, there's another one that restricts how many people you can have in a building compared to its maximum occupancy, in which case they are still restricted with that.
Yeah, and the other thing too, it's like the only reason they're exempted in this shutdown order is because the state that we're in lost a Supreme Court a state Supreme Court argument against like whether or not the state had the constitutional power to do this.
Yeah. Turns out they don't.
They don't.
Outdoor gatherings and events of more than 50 persons are prohibited, which honestly does not make any sense to me. Because if you have a big event and everybody's 10 feet apart and you have 100 people, that's illegal. But if you have an outdoor thing and it's in a parking lot and everybody's packed in like sardines, that's perfectly fine as long as there's 50 or less people, which is stupid.
That's absolutely stupid.
So that does not make any sense. Capacity limited for businesses. All in-person businesses serving the public may only operate at 50% of maximum capacity stated on the applicable certification of occupancy, except as limited by existing orders to a smaller capacity limit. That's the one I was talking about. Currently, a lot of churches are going to fall into the other capacity limit. right now, churches, synagogues, and other places of worship. And that's the one that I was talking about just a little bit ago. And so they're still restricted by that. However, I know that at one of the churches I used to attend, one of the main things that they've been doing to help with COVID spread is they've actually been doing they've been broadcasting their services via radio. So what you do is you go to the you go to the church, but then you never actually get out of your car. You can just tune your radio to the right frequency, and the pastor there will basically he'll be outside so you can see him, but he'll hold the service right there.
Yeah.
For everybody to watch, but from their car, so they're not actually having contact with anybody.
Well, the a lot of the bigger ones in the area where I live are just live streaming the thing online.
Mm-hmm. I was just say, I know that the church I go to, they actually record theirs and put them online as well. But they also live stream, and they're doing the radio thing. That way, you're still getting out. You still, a lot of people still getting dressed up and looking nice. And then you can, if you want, there's always a place that you can drop an offering if you so choose. I think right now they're preferring either, if you want to give, you either want to do it via online or via mail or some other way. But gyms and fitness facilities. Indoor operations at gyms and fitness facilities are prohibited. Outdoor facilities and outdoor classes can continue, but all participants must wear face coverings in accordance with the Secretary of Health's updated order requiring universal face coverings, including any subsequent amendments, and practice physical distancing requirements. Because anybody does that.
Well, the governor didn't.
Yeah.
But no, I know of at least two in the area that are just straight up ignoring that because the governor doesn't actually have the authority to do anything about it.
Yep.
Which was another Supreme Court, uh, one of the state Supreme Court rulings on the governor.
Yep. Yep. All in-person businesses in the entertainment industry serving the public within a building or indoor defined area, including but not limited to theaters, concert venues, museums, movie theaters, arcades, casinos, bowling alleys, private clubs, and all other similar entertainment, recreation, or social facilities, are prohibited from operation.
Oh my
That's
God.
kind of insane.
It's
all these small fucking venues that bands that I like that I go to are all gonna be fucking closed down because of this shit.
Yep.
Well, that's I mean, pretty soon the only music you're gonna be able to see live is bands that are mainstream.
Yeah.
No more underground, no more underground live music, which is unfortunately how a lot of those bands are. It's the only way those bands are able to make any money is
Yeah.
touring in these small venues. So you can kiss those goodbye.
Yep. Voluntary activities sponsored or approved by schools, entities, governing body, or administration are suspended, but these extracurricular activities may be held virtually. This includes, but is not limited to, attendance at or participation in activities such as musical ensembles, school plays, student council, clubs, and school dances. I am really curious on how the fuck you hold a virtual school dance.
You don't.
Or musical ensemble.
They do technically, but it's basically just it's a bunch of kids looking at the screens. I mean, the craziest thing to me is the virus itself poses almost no danger to young kids, like people under the age of 18.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that you are actively
it poses virtually no danger to basically anybody that's not elderly.
Well, yeah, that too. But the other thing, the kids for there've been plenty of I don't know, there've been plenty of cases, but next to no deaths of anyone under 18. The only deaths of people who are under 18 were people who were like basically live in the hospital anyway because of other health issues.
Yeah.
But all these lockdowns and school closings and school events being canceled and stuff like that, the only thing that does is absolutely destroys the socialization of basically an entire generation.
Yeah.
One of the main problems that I have with this virus is everybody is like, we have to protect the elderly, we have to protect the elderly. But the thing is, right? We're also just destroying young lives, that the lives that are supposed to replace the older people in the workforce, that we're just destroying. And nobody's really recognizing that. Like, we went from slow the spread, and now here we are, we're just counting up the cases. But the thing is, we're doing increasingly mass testing with the tests that create many false positives. But we're still thinking about all these cases, and it's just like we got stuck in this mess because we didn't just let the virus run its course.
Well, the whole thing is it time for me to put on my tinfoil hat?
Yeah.
Not quite yet. Let me get
Oh.
through this real quick.
Okay, well, the one thing, just one thing before I do put on my tinfoil hat, the thing, people are like, uh, the whole reason that people didn't want to rush to herd immunity is because according to, Twitter PhDs, that herd immunity doesn't exist, which is the most ridiculous thing that you can ever say, because that means the vaccine wouldn't exist. That's how vaccines work, is they give everyone herd immunity. So the virus dies, or the strain of the virus dies.
Yeah.
Saying there's no such thing as herd immunity from this, and this is coming from the exact same people who, want to mandate the vaccine, is absolutely ridiculous.
We're sacrificing safety over liberty, and we're not going to get either.
Well, I've also done a bit of research on the vaccine, but I'll save that for the tinfoil hat section.
All sports at through 12, public schools, non-public schools, private schools, and club, travel, recreational, intramural, and intramural sports are paused. Professional and collegiate sport activities may continue in accordance with guidance from the CDC and the Department of Health, but spectators may not attend such sporting events in person. That's the current extent to the rules and laws as they are written by our governor, because he just gets to write laws now. Let's be real, that's what he's been doing. Because Tom Wolfe is a fucking douchebag. One of my favorite masks that I've been seeing recently is it's just a black mask with white wording that says, "This mask is as useless as our governor." I love that mask. I really kind of want to get one for myself.
Well, yeah. There's also absolutely no evidence that the masks actually stop spread.
Oh yeah. No, there is none.
Well,
There's none.
So here's the thing: the masks prevents you spreading it from other people, but only if you're changing your mask about every hour.
Yeah.
After that, it begins to lose its effectiveness. It still decreases it by a bit by preventing you from like sneezing into the open air and transferring it that way. But with the amount of people that just touch their mask casually, just randomly, it does nothing. The COVID will actually live on your mask for a little bit of time. It's not a terribly long time. It's not like days. It's barely even like an hour, but it's still long enough for you to easily transfer it to something else.
Yeah.
But one of the things I did want to address, and I actually talk about this in the podcasts that were released next week, but it's not out yet, and this one will actually be coming out first, is going back to the sacrificing our children for the elderly. Here's the thing, right? We're not even like at this point we haven't even seen our elderly be taking that much more of a hit than they would have this year. Because whenever you look at the extra deaths from the CDC, they're not coming from the elderly, which is primarily who's dying of COVID. In fact, we're actually almost in line with what we should be expecting for this time of year. Where we've been seeing the most increase of deaths has actually been in people aged 25 to 44. And those deaths are not coming from COVID. Very few are, but those deaths are not coming from COVID. They're coming from just about everything else you can imagine, from suicides to drug overdoses, people not seeking out medical treatment because they're afraid to go to hospitals because we've created this fear that if you get COVID, you're going to die. I literally talked to somebody the other day. She is 19 years old. She's terrified of getting COVID because she's convinced she's going to die. She has no underlying health conditions other than the fact that she's overweight. That's
Well,
it. She's not even overweight by that much.
it's the constant fear mongering that's been going
Yeah,
on.
that's literally what it's been. And here's the thing: I've been a proponent of voluntary mask usage, voluntary isolation since before the United States had its first case. I have been a proponent of those things. But with what we have with things becoming mandatory now, I can't agree with it. I don't think it should be mandatory. It needs to be voluntary.
Let the
Because
free people be free.
when you mandate those things, people that would have voluntarily done them won't. They don't want to now.
Yeah, and it's and I can probably speak for all of us that if we weren't doing like D&D or doing this and like we were just barely talking to each other because we were following the guidelines, I'm pretty sure all three of us would be a lot more depressed than where we are.
Well, I mean, well, yeah, for sure. But I mean, still, even, even still, like, I've been dealing with massive, massive, massive depression since like March when all this stuff came down.
Yeah.
I mean, like, one of the biggest one of my biggest coping mechanisms is going to the gym, and when my gym was shut down for like 3 months, I literally felt like I had no purpose. Like I was just doing nothing. I was sitting at home all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame because at this point we are sacrificing our young.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But
it's
if it
yeah.
saves one life, that's taking a lot more, you idiots.
Yeah, as I say, it's actually not been saving lives; it's been taking them.
It legitimately it's they just can't comprehend that the people are gonna die, right? There's no saving that. People are gonna die, right? And it's like, well, would you rather save the economy or save lives? And it's just, if we save the economy, we'll save lives that matter most to
Well,
the country.
the other
Because
thing too, it's like you can't
It comes off as cold and callous, but the reality is, um, our country decided to make this decision that instead of being intelligent about how we go about things, instead of locking down nursing home facilities, and instead of advising those that with pre-existing condition and the elderly to try to stay home and use a proxy for things like groceries or to pick up medicine, we instead just decided to shut down the entire country,
hmm
which did all of the things we should have done plus way too much more.
Well, I mean, the thing it does sound callous when you say like, oh, we have to save the economy. But I mean, the truth is, when the economy crashes, you're gonna see way more deaths than the point two the coronavirus has taken.
It's not even point two, man.
Well, whatever it is, point oh two,
It's yeah, it's so small.
whatever the statistic is. But I mean, literally this year alone, in the United States, 8 million people have slipped below the poverty line, which they
hmm
wouldn't have otherwise.
it basically what we're seeing is basically we're all watching a public execution, and we're hearing our leaders saying that we're doing this to save lives, we're doing this to save lives, as they're just hanging small business people left and fucking right. And it's just like, you're saying those words, but you're destroying a lot. You're destroying more than what you're saving,
Yeah,
because this country was built on small businesses, and we're legitimately killing small businesses right now.
Well, the thing is, and I think I've brought it up literally in 2 of our last 3 podcasts. The United States is not a capitalist country. It is a corporate socialist. It's a corporate socialist country.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, the only thing that the coronavirus has done, besides kill the young and stuff like that, is lined the pockets of the CEOs of these mega corporations, the only ones that are allowed to function.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's like you're destroying 50% of the small business class while simultaneously making these mega corporations and monopolies bigger and richer.
Yep.
Which will only make them harder to break up, or not do weird draconian shit,
And
like a lot of them are wont to do.
Mm-hmm.
like the people that say that they're rebelling against government are the ones that are falling into their hands so easily because they're blinded by their own ignorance.
Yep. Anyway, Brad, tinfoil hat time?
I believe it is.
Okay, go for it.
Well, speaking of the coronavirus, I am a massive conspiracy theorist, as well as an anarchist and stuff like that. But
It isn't a pandemic, it's a plandemic.
well, funny you should say that. A lot of the people who believe that this is a plandemic, I don't, but I've done research into the points that the plandemic crowd have been bringing up, and I found something interesting. What the internet has been calling Operation Lockstep, which is not the right name for it, but if you look up Operation Lockstep, it'll bring up the correct articles and stuff. What it actually is, it comes from a scenario described in the Rockefeller Center, like newsletter sort of thing. Okay. So it was released in 2010, and it was essentially like 4 different scenarios that might happen within the next couple of years, right, from 2010. And one of the scenarios that they put in this document, which is a PDF available. You can Google it. It's like one of the first things that pop up. One of the scenarios described in this document, and the document's name, just real quick, is Scenarios for the Future of Technology and International Development. One of the scenarios, called Lockstep, describes a global pandemic taken advantage of by authoritarian governments. And it describes a number of things that are scary parallels between what's happening right now. And the just for clarification, real quick, the so-called operation it's not like a blueprint for these governments to take advantage of a global pandemic. And like a lot of the people that point to this document, as proof of the virus being released on purpose or anything like that, that's not what the document says. But it does have the only thing it does is warn of authoritarian governments basically taking advantage of it. And there are a lot of things it predicted really well. Here's just some of them. In the document, this is word for word from the document: citizens willingly giving up sovereignty and privacy to paternalistic states in exchange for greater safety and stability. Next, citizens become more tolerant and eager for top-down government direction and oversight. Check.
Yep.
National leaders gain more latitude to impose order in the ways that they see fit.
Yep.
Check. In developed countries, this heightened oversight took the form of biometric IDs for all citizens and tighter regulations of key industries. Now, the tighter regulations of key industries has definitely happened, but one of the things that I've seen online when it comes to coronavirus response is people looking forward to contact tracing and basically being willing to put a microchip in themselves or whatever if that gives the government the information it needs to stop the spread. In the developed world, the presence of so many top-down rules and norms greatly inhibited entrepreneurial activity. Check. Driven by protectionism, nations create their own independent IT networks mimicking China's firewalls to police internet traffic, which is something that happened in our last election and done by a lot of our social media monopolies to stop the spread of so-called false information about the virus.
I want to caveat real quick off of that. So, anybody hear about the new YouTube rules regarding the election?
Yep.
No, inform me, please. This seems this seems interesting.
I have to be very careful about how I phrase this, or this entire video will be deleted basically as soon as it's uploaded. But in a video, you can claim that there was election fraud, or the election was done inappropriately, or there was something unconstitutional about it, or you may claim that Trump was the rightful winner of the election. But you cannot claim both in the same video. You will have your video instantly removed.
Wow, man.
That does sound like independent IT networks imitating China's firewalls, which is something that the the lockstep scenario predicted.
Yep.
Now,
it's that, like, when I heard that one announced, I was just like, oh boy, because they've already been trying to do their bullshit, like, oh, the election has been called. No, last I checked, the Electoral College has not met. Therefore, the election has not even technically taken place yet. So fuck off with your bullshit.
It takes months to finish the election.
Yeah, and it was one of those things. It's just like, this is getting ridiculous.
I mean, there are plenty of things about the whole pandemic that have been ridiculous. And now, just to clarify, lockstep, the lockstep scenario in this document is one of only 4 scenarios that they predicted and ran whatever experiments for. I don't know. I haven't read all of it. I've just read the lockstep thing, which is a grand total of only about 10 pages out of a 66-page document. Now, the only reason it's brought up by conspiracy theorists is because it was released by the Rockefeller Group, which a lot of conspiracy theorists have a big problem with the Rockefellers because of things like they are key members of the Bilderberg Group. I personally haven't done enough of my own research, and I am very skeptical of pretty much everything I see online, including conspiracy theories, which is one of the reasons that I looked up Lockstep for myself. It is not like a checklist. It's not plans for, the Rockefellers or any of these governments to actually take control of or take advantage of a pandemic. It just predicted that they would if there ever was such a pandemic. Now, moving on from Operation Lockstep, the other sort of COVID conspiracies that are out there. I read not that long ago, it was like a week ago, on Facebook. It was an article. Pfizer is the one that's coming out with the vaccine.
Yep.
It's been distributed, I think, 200 and or not 200. I'm sorry, 2.9 million vaccines for distribution.
Yep. So
It's
far.
already gone through, experimental testing. But because it is an experimental vaccine, and it's also not a traditional vaccine. I think it's called. It's got a different name. It won't prevent you from getting the virus like a polio vaccine does, or a measles vaccine, or a mumps vaccine, whatever. Um, it's got a weird name, and I can't remember it off the top of my head, and I neglected to write it down. It essentially just uh, hopes to prevent you from getting too sick.
Yep.
Like I don't. I'm not a vaccine scientist. I'm or anything. I don't have the thing, but I don't have any expertise in that area. But one thing that is true, and you can look it up for yourself, because it's an experimental vaccine, it was rushed and given FDA approval basically to stop a pandemic. Um, you can't bring a lawsuit against them if there are any side effects, especially long term, that appear. Um,
Yep.
including 4 people in England who took the experimental one, have developed Bell's palsy,
Mm-hmm.
which is a paralysis of facial muscles, as well as other muscles in the body. Um, but if for whatever reason, because it didn't have a 7 to 10 year testing cycle like a lot of other vaccines do, if there are any uh, unwanted or unforeseen side effects, like a lot of the conspiracy theorists are worried that this will cause infertility or things of that nature, um, there's absolutely no repercussion for Pfizer or any government that requires you to take the vaccine.
See, the thing is, the government isn't going to require you to take the vaccine. It's just the businesses that you go to are going to be the ones that have to require you to have the vaccine.
Well, that's the other thing I wanted to get on. There's a lot of a lot of speculation, but it's looking to be more and more true as we get closer to um, the vaccine. The vaccine being widely available. Um, you're probably going to be required to have been vaccinated in order to travel, like on airplanes or just travel in general. A lot of people are pushing for you to be required to have the vaccine to continue to work at a job or to get hired in the future.
That's fascist. That is fucking fascist.
Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's
Not surprised.
reality.
Yeah.
Um, it's that is worrying. I mean, I've seen a lot of people talk about how people who've gotten the vaccine already, um, getting little passes that say that you have a vaccine, that you've gotten a vaccine, so you can show to a police officer that kicks down your door, or uh, the the desk worker of the flight that you want to take. Which spawned a funny meme I saw. Have either of you seen the movie Fifth Element?
Uh,
Yes, I
no.
have.
I
There.
if I did, it was way in the past.
Well, it was basically a meme going, here's me showing, my fake COVID vaccine slip, and it's Lilu showing the multipass.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, um, but there's also a lot of people worrying online, especially in my sort of conspiracy
One one of
circles.
one of the things that I don't understand is like if the people want to take the vaccine, they can go and take the vaccine, right? But you shouldn't be forcing other people to take the vaccine, because if you go and say you'll save lives. But the point is about the vaccine, it's just it's for you're not supposed to get it, right?
Well,
So
in a perfect world, that would be true. However, there are already first world countries, developed countries, and some of our allies that are requiring it, like New Zealand, for example, has opened virus relocation centers. If their citizens don't want to take the vaccines, um, they that's fine. You don't have to, but in order for your protection and for the protection of others, if you choose not to take the vaccine, you will be taken to one of these virus relocation centers,
That's so dumb.
which are
That's
essentially forced
stupid.
quarantines for. It doesn't say how long, and the government hasn't announced for how long. Um, because every other time a government has put its citizens in internment camps, it's gone real well.
Oh yeah, yeah, totally,
And
totally.
the other thing too, um, one of the other things, New Zealand has a very right wing, or not right wing, sorry, left wing government.
Yeah.
The people who are definitely going to be taken to the virus relocation camps or centers, sorry, not camps, centers. Um, Most of
Call
them are going to be like most of the people who refuse to take the vaccine are going to be right wing or libertarian politically, or conspiracy theorists like me that pay attention to what the government's doing and whistle
Yep.
blow. So just sort of getting rid of the political your political opponents there. The people who might vote you out of office for the draconian and fascist things that you are doing.
Yep.
Man, the anti-fascist movement have been voting in fascist
Yeah,
politicians.
but the other thing that's being spread by mainstream media outlets are quotes from experts saying that the lockdowns should never end because coronavirus is never going to go away because they don't have an actual vaccine for it. Um,
Even
it
even
they
though
that which the vaccine has come out, but a real vaccine hasn't come out. So the experts are saying that they're just going to be rolling lockdowns until this thing is completely gone away, which the experts are saying will never happen.
even though I think the CDC goes and say, or actual credible scientists go and say, yeah, lockdowns are basically kicking the can down the road. Like lockdowns aren't the way that we're gonna beat this virus. How we're
Well,
gonna beat this virus is through herd immunity. That's
well,
how we're
the
gonna beat this virus.
the thing that the whole reason when this all started in the United States, the government said that we're going to lock down for 15 days is to stop the spread. It wasn't to stop the spread necessarily. The reason that was given at the beginning of the lockdown, what they wanted to do was not to put too much undue pressure on the medical system
Correct.
Yep.
because we weren't
That was the
prepared
primary
for
reason.
it. It was never to stop people from getting the virus. It was to slow it
Yeah.
so that the so that
So that
the
our medical systems could deal with it in an appropriate fashion without getting overwhelmed.
I said that earlier in this podcast. It was to slow the spread, but now we're just trying to stop the spread. It should never have been to stop the spread. It should
because the
always to be slow the spread.
well that I think that was definitely true at the beginning, but now I think that governments and politicians and special interest groups have realized just how easy it is to control over 50% of the population if you just continue to spread the fear surrounding the virus. And I've also seen a lot of experts say um, that they are pro lockdowns in the future because this one has quote unquote worked so well for viruses that are just straight up not deadly, not necessarily deadly to a large portion of the population, but just hard to control, like the flu is every year.
Mm-hmm.
People
Yeah.
people saying that the government should mandate masks during flu season and in some cases lock it down, lock the economy and the country down again every flu season.
I got a question for you guys.
Yes.
What?
How close do you think we are to another civil war?
Hard to say. Hard to say.
Um, not far off.
No, not far off.
I mean, the not far off.
Yeah.
It's there. You've already got some of the some of the people who oppose the shutdowns and lockdowns and actually care about their freedoms are some of the same people who have been um, you know arguing that it should have happened back in uh, 2013 when Obama passed new gun control laws, or Trump did, or the ATF has been doing some shady fucking shit. I mean, a lot of there's a lot of overlap there, and I mean, it's like I said, it's been building for close to 20 years at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just the unrest in some of those circles, and I think this has just exacerbated it, and
Exacerbate.
that's what I said.
No, you said exacerbate.
Well, whatever I said. Anyway, you know what I mean. So do the listeners. But no, I think uh, I think that just this scenario, like the scenario, like coronavirus itself and the government's response to it, has done nothing but magnify and multiply the problem by about tenfold.
Yeah.
And the thing
There's some
is,
other things going on right now too that could very easily kick it off.
yeah, I would be very surprised if within the next 10 years there wasn't
I don't even think
an
I don't even
attempt.
think it's going to be that long. I mean, I don't know if how much you guys have been paying attention to some of the election stuff, but um, there have been a lot of lawsuits going around different states, etc. For example, in our home state of Pennsylvania here, we there was a lawsuit brought by a number of people that said that the mail-in voting laws that were passed last year, I believe it was Act 77, were unconstitutional because they directly violate the Constitution, because the Constitution of Pennsylvania specifically sets out our voting procedures for voting in person and voting absentee, which is known as voting by mail. And to change how you would say vote by mail, that would require a constitutional amendment. However, Act 77 changed the voting procedures and is not a constitutional amendment, and is obviously therefore a violation of the Constitution. The court rejected this lawsuit, um, not because it wasn't true, but because the people that filed suit waited too long. That was the reason why they rejected the suit. Is you didn't file it soon enough, so therefore we can't actually do anything about it. Because keep in mind, they can always rule that yes, it was unconstitutional, but that's not going to change the outcome of this election per se. They just straight up refused to rule on it because, oh, you waited too long to actually file the suit, so we're not even going to consider it.
Well, the problem is a lot of these things, a lot of the judgments about whether something's constitutional can change uh, at the drop of a hat if you've got the right judge. They
Well,
can
so here's the
determine that
thing.
everything's constitutional.
Yeah, so here's the thing, right? So then it went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court denied to even hear the case, which is pretty interesting. And Texas also sued recently, multiple states over multiple different discrepancies and inconsistencies and constitutional violations, and that went it got a Supreme Court docket. And then the Supreme Court ruled last night that they were not going to hear that case either.
Why? Why?
Don't know. I don't know. And so as a result now, There has obviously it's not trending on Twitter because Twitter has been intentionally shutting it down, but there has been a lot of talk by a lot of, let's just say, very very high up individuals in government, um, about having multiple, and sorry, not even multiple, a majority of states form a new union and leave the United States.
I wouldn't mind. I would actually like to see that happen. And
Um,
I know most of it's going to be the red states.
Well, I mean,
so to give you an idea of how much momentum this lawsuit from Texas had, there were 40 states signed on an agreement with the lawsuit. 40 states out of 50 agreed that this lawsuit needed to go to the Supreme Court to be ruled on. And the Supreme Court rejected it. They really didn't even give an explanation as to why.
I mean, they, I don't know. It's, yeah, it's kicking off soon.
Yeah.
Like
It's gonna be soon.
I know the Texas secession movement has gotten a lot stronger recently.
Oh, if they secede, I'm moving there. I mean, I don't even care. Like, no, I don't care if I don't have any jobs lined up, or if I don't have any jobs lined up out there, or anything like that, like money in my pocket, or a a place to live, or anything like that. Like, this minute they secede, I'm moving. Like, I don't care if I have to live in my car for a year. I'm moving there.
Yeah, no, it's been interesting over the last couple days watching some of this stuff play out. There's a lot of talks about a split in the United States, splitting into two countries now.
I'm all for it.
I'm all for it too.
Yeah, no, I mean, the other thing, like, it's I'm amazed it hasn't happened already this year. Just even not even like because of the coronavirus stuff, but because of just how ridiculous some of the laws are getting, or some of the laws that, like, for example, progressive lawmakers are trying to push. There's a lady, I can't remember her name, um, Texas Senate, the state Senate,
Mm-hmm.
put forth a ban, put forth a bill attempting to um, essentially overturn what's known as the Castle Doctrine. Do you guys know what that is?
I know what that is. Yes.
I don't.
Corey? Okay, well, basically, the Castle Doctrine is the like legal parameters for which you are allowed to protect your home, your property. Extends to, like, you driving your car. It essentially, like, it's the it's the
Put it like this: it allows the king of his castle to defend his property, essentially meaning that if somebody tries to break into your house or your vehicle, and you are on the premises and you have a weapon, you are fully allowed to shoot them.
Yes.
And kill them, and
Now,
that is lawful.
Yes, as it
like
should be.
Seems like a
Yes,
great
as it
law to
should.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Uh,
is what castle doctrine is. It is the ability to defend yourself and your home and your property.
so this Democrat lawmaker in Texas, I think she's from like Irving or something like that,
Yeah.
put forth a bill that would dismantle the Castle Doctrine. And her reasoning, and I don't have her quote in front of me or anything like that, and I don't want to spend 5 minutes trying to find it. Um, her reasoning was essentially that uh, like taking, like, robbing someone or something like that, like a criminal robbing someone doesn't doesn't warrant a death sentence, which I do agree with. However, um, doesn't
Ba-
mean you shouldn't be able to shoot them.
basic what it means is you shouldn't value your materials over other people's lives.
See, here's
Yes.
the problem, though.
Now the thing,
I'm not valuing my materials over somebody else's life. Somebody else is valuing my materials over their own life.
Yeah.
well, yes, not only that, but the other thing too, there are already laws in pretty much every state what constitutes self-defense, and some of them I agree with. Like, for example, if someone is leaving your property, like trespassing or attempted to break in or whatever, is leaving, like has your back turned to them, like they have their back turned to you, you can't shoot them and kill them, because at that point you can't prove that they were, that they were attempting to do whatever, kill you, rape your kid, whatever. But her reasoning is what gets me. Um, it doesn't warrant a death sentence. That's reason number one. And two, she is arguing in the bill that if the criminal is the only one with the gun, that will force your compliance, thus meaning the criminal won't have to kill you.
Yes, because that's how that works.
That's how
Yep.
that works.
Yep.
She's essentially arguing that, like, the criminal having the gun is safer for you than you being armed.
I hate these fucking progressives.
I mean,
Oh.
she's. I can 100%. I have done no research on this woman. I can't even remember her name. I can guarantee you she lives in a gated community with private security.
Oh yeah. If she's a state senator, oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
But it's not like there have ever been any cases of someone killing a
Complying
homeowner
and then getting shot
and
anyway.
then being shot. Yeah. And one of the things, one of the big Twitter shit storms this week was there was a guy got executed this week by the federal government, because he was part of a group that carjacked, shot, and killed someone. He was a what do you call it? I'm drawing a blank on the word. Accomplice. He was an accomplice to essentially a double murder. So what happened in the crime was that a group of 3 people stopped a car, guns out, forced the couple that was driving the car out of the car, shot them, tied them up, put them in the trunk, and then basically went on like a 5-hour joyride in their car.
Mm-hmm.
At which point the person who was put on death row was, by his accomplices, forced at gunpoint to light the car on fire, which ended up killing the 2 people who were bleeding out and tied up in the trunk. So, I mean, literally the person that they're arguing for was a perpetrator of the crime, like the anti-death, anti-capital punishment crowd on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
The person that they were trying to defend was literally a perpetrator of something that this new bill says would never happen if only the criminals were armed.
I do wanna correct something because I know a bit about this case. You phrased that he was forced to light the car on fire. He was not forced. He did it willingly.
Okay, I mean that's just
No, he
I did know
he was one of the people that shot. He was the person that put them in the back of it, and then he was the one that willingly lit the car on fire. He did not object. In fact, I don't quite remember. I believe he was actually even the one that came up with that idea of lighting it on fire.
I don't know. Like I said, I did no
And
research into the case. It was just
I
the
read
5
up on
minutes
it.
I saw people shouting about
I read
on
up
Twitter.
on it about 2 weeks ago. Because whenever people first started trying to defend him and say he shouldn't get death row, or he shouldn't be on death row. No, I think if you And the thing that I saw is, oh, he shouldn't be on death row because he was just a kid when he did it. He was 17.
Yeah.
I think he was
You
18.
know better at that point.
I think he
No,
was 18.
He was 17. He was almost 18, but he was 17 when it happened. And the argument was that he didn't know better. He was too young, which is bullshit. I knew it was wrong to kill people when I think I was 3,
Yeah.
Yeah.
maybe younger. If somebody's prime defense is, well, he didn't know better than to kill somebody, especially by immolation.
Yeah.
Like, not a good look.
Yeah. I mean, I learned where not to set fires when I was in first grade, and one of those places was a car with 2 bodies tied up in the trunk.
Or people.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous bill.
Yeah.
I doubt will be passed, but that's just the same people.
No, there's no way that even gets considered to be passed.
Well, I think it's being heard.
If it's in the House delegation, then there's no way that doesn't get laughed off of the floor.
It will, but that being said, who knows for how long it will be laughed up off the floor. And that just brings me to my point: buy a 3D printer, 3D print your own guns. Fuck gun control. Fuck
Yeah,
governments.
I mean, I can agree with that. Fuck gun control.
Yep. Fuck gun control.
Gun control's dead. Print your liberation. Just fucking make it.
Any other rants that we want to go on before we close this one up?
I'm ranted out.
Yeah. I'm just now just kind of sad. I just want the land of the free be free. That's all I want. Is that too much to ask?
Well,
apparently,
if you're a depressed anarchist like myself, or even just libertarian, look forward to Michael Malice's White Pill book that's coming out soon. A lot of us have been black-pilled by the events of this year, and essentially turned into nothing but nihilists. There is hope out there, and you just gotta find it. Not everything's lost yet.
Yeah, you just got to make it up.
There are things that you can do. One of which is ignore Governor Tom Wolf's COVID restrictions and do what I do and go to the gym illegally.
The only way that we're gonna get out of this lockdown is legitimately if everybody just starts being disobedient. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get out of this lockdown from a virus with a 99.9% cure rate.
Yeah, it's insane.
Guillotine your local politician.
Bro, do we want to go the Dutch route and eat our own politicians?
Nah.
And then
that's gross.
and then paint it and set it up in the Capitol building as a reminder.
Just search Facebook Marketplace for a cheap wood chipper and then drive that to your local representative's house.
Slip and chip.
The slip and chip.
And with that, I think we're going to end it for today. I hope you've enjoyed your time here at the BCJ Cast. This was Minicast episode number 3. I hope you enjoyed the rants, and as always, we will see you next time.